At the Gainesville State School, things are not quite like they are at any other high school campus. Here, the students, ages 13 to 19, are all convicted criminals.
Most of them are from larger cities, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, places like that. Most of them are behind not only educationally, but they're also behind developmentally maturity. Usually one or more parent they're incarcerated. So what we try to do is get them to stop their offense cycle, stop the very second they understand that they're making the wrong choice, we redirect them. And we hope eventually they redirect themselves.
Life at this maximum security facility is anything but normal. Yet if these kids achieve in the classroom and meet the school's strict behavior standards, they can play football, the one thing that provides a brief brush with freedom.
The chance of getting to smell that popcorn, the chance of seeing a cheerleader, the chance of hearing these people in the stands yelling and screaming and the band's playing and everything else like a football game, and that's what they look forward to.
Yet for the Gainesville boys, every game is an away game. Every crowd an away crowd, most with little understanding or compassion. After suffering through a 2008 season that saw 8 consecutive losses, and after scoring just 14 points all season long while giving up over 300, the Tornadoes traveled to Grapevine to finish their season against private school powerhouse Faith Christian. Faith's coach, Kris Hogan, had a game plan for that night that had nothing to do with football. Hogan sent an email to the entire Faith community, asking fans, students, and parents to do something out of the ordinary. Cheer for Gainesville and make these boys feel like they were their own.
So Coach Hogan called me and I'm going, oh yeah, here we go. He's gonna make us a spirit line, yeah. And he's gonna make us a banner. Here we go with JV cheerleaders and a little bit banner. Well, we get down there and I said, okay, this is gonna be good. And I turn around and look and there's this big long line, this 40-yard line.
I just seen all them people right there, and I was just shocked, surprised. Then when I found out it was a spirit line, they wanted us to run through it. I mean, it was just a good feeling to have. All them people just can't come out there and support us.
I figured we were just gonna go around them. I figured it was for the other team. But Coach Williams, he said, run.
I said, they're on the right end. They're here for you. Why are they here for us? I said, don't worry about it. Run through that line, crash through that banner, and have fun all night long. That's what it's all about.
And we just kept running to the other side, and it like we didn't want to stop. Like it was just like a rush.
After they made the spirit line, they came and sat on our side. I was thinking, like, what are these people doing?
For the first time, the boys from Gainesville felt like they were the home team.
You saw hope in their eyes when they came out and saw that spirit line, and then confidence every time the fans cheered for them. I think that's the biggest thing that impacted me.
I ain't never experienced other parents cheering for other teams. I think it never happened, but it happened that night.
It's almost like they didn't have to prove anything. There was such a celebration of them, they began to think, yeah, we are a team like everybody else.
While the scoreboard showed Gainesville coming up short that night, losing by a score of 33-14, it hardly mattered.
Just that feeling that we had, you couldn't convince nobody on that team that we lost. You could show us the scoreboard 1,000,000 times and you still couldn't convince us that we lost. I feel like God was just touching upon all of us and letting us know that there's people out there that care about you, even though they don't even know us. That was the first time they ever seen us ever in their life. What we did in our past, they didn't care about that. They just cared that we was there right then and there, and they wanted to love us like their own kids.
Their emotional maturity went up several years that night when they saw that there were more people out there that were giving of their heart. These are the things that makes them feel that they're just as important as any other kid on the face of this earth.
It motivated me and gave me a lot of hope.
They're willing to help us as long as we're willing to help ourselves. They're willing to give us a second chance as long as we're willing to take the second chance.
We could be affirmed in the fact that we really made a difference that night, and I think you can see it's down the road and made a difference.
Had we done this before, maybe 10 or 12, 15 years ago, had we done things like this, there's a good possibility that this place might not even exist.
I don't know if there are any real words that can do that justice, but being able to see what you saw on the screen is really the impetus behind the One Heart Project. It's ultimately about second chances, and you're going to get a chance to hear from a living example of that in just a few moments. But I did want to just share a few bullet points and facts that might be of interest. You just saw in that video that One Heart Project is all about second chances. And just by show of hands, could you tell me if in fact you've had a second chance in your life by show of hands? Mine has to go up. I would think most probably would go up in the room. And what a difference a second chance makes in our own lives. The mission of the One Heart Project is to provide incarcerated and at-risk youth with a second chance. I'm here in my capacity as a board member of the Heart of a Champion Foundation. I've served in that capacity for well over a decade, and the real driving force behind the Heart of a Champion Foundation is to use value-based curriculum to effectuate change in the attitudes and behaviors of young people, because as the name indicates, the Heart of a Champion is what's from the inside out, being able to help young folks identify who they are, establish behaviors around the vision of having a greater calling and purpose, and then being able to equip them to walk in that through curriculum, through loving adults, through mentoring, through collaborations with other service organizations. And that's really what Heart of a Champion is about. And clearly this initiative, the One Heart Project, is a bit of a branch on that tree, if you will, a significant branch. Just wanted to share a couple of numbers with you. Over 200,000 juveniles, those between 13 and 18, are incarcerated annually. Of those, most 60 to 70% come from backgrounds that would indicate they may not have had a first chance, let alone a second chance, in terms of neighborhoods, households of dysfunction, and so forth. What's been shown through the Heart of a Champion Foundation and the One Heart Project is that when you can show unconditional love and provide caring adults in the lives of these young folks, they can and do change. The recidivism rate typically for incarcerated juveniles is somewhere in the 70 to 80% range. But those who have gone through the One Heart Project curriculum have actually recidivized at only about 15 to 17%. So what's taking place is making a huge difference and changing lives. You know, it's funny, as we watch that video, powerful to see what a simple gesture, a collective gesture of unconditional love, support, what it engendered in those young men in terms of confidence and hope, and how it made them feel. And I'm going to have Mac come up in just a moment, but it's interesting. Part of the story is that during a break in the taping, one of the actual incarcerated youth told the producer he was about to be released to go home the very next day. The producer congratulated him and said, "You got to be excited." And the young man simply replied, "No, sir, I'm terrified." And then began to relate the terrible situation in his home, neighborhood, and so forth, the hopeless circumstances that he would be going back to. A little over a year later, our producer saw that same young man on the Jumbotron in Times Square in a Samsung commercial. Talk about the power of second chances. That young man is with us tonight, and his name is Mack White. Come on up, Mack.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yes.
I just want to tell y'all that video that y'all saw, I was 19 years old. I wasn't well groomed, and I didn't have a haircut, and I had like a chipped tooth. So as long as y'all forget about it, I'll forget about it. We can never talk about that again, okay? All right, that's
I didn't
all
even notice any of that.
I did. I noticed
all
it every
I saw
time.
Was a handsome guy with unbelievable potential.
I mean, that's what you're
saw.
seeing right now, but that back then, I don't. Yeah, I mean.
Well, talk a little bit about the journey from then until now for you. And I'm actually going to allow you to have the podium, and then when you're done, you signal me back up. You've got about as much time as you
ask
need.
the question one more time?
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, ask the question one more time. I forgot.
Oh, I said your journey from
all right,
when you were that handsome, chipped-toothed,
Nah.
ungroomed guy to where you are now. All right.
All right. I got you. The journey, it's been crazy. It's been rough, and it's highs and lows. But never in a million years I would have thought I would get the opportunity that I have, because growing up I was told that I would have never amount to nothing. I wouldn't make it to C21. It's just a lot of stuff that went on in my life. And just from coming from a place, an environment that kills you mentally and destroys your spirits, any faith and little hope that you did have is gone when you're incarcerated for 3 years at the age of 16, and I don't blame anybody, because regardless of my circumstances and the way I was raised and, the cards I was dealt, I still knew right from wrong, but still chose to do wrong. And I feel like it's a difference between ignorant and stupid. And ignorant is not knowing, and stupid is knowing and continue to making the same mistake. So I wasn't being ignorant, I was being stupid. I wasn't using, my thought patterns the right way. And I guess by the time I got out of jail, I was very insecure about myself. I had no hope. I stayed in the house all day unless I was going to look for jobs. Nobody wanted. I tried to get a job at like a dumpster, like the little thing when the guys are on the back of the dumpsters and they riding in the back and they picking up people's trash and kicking other people's trash cans over. Yeah, I was trying to get one of those jobs, but they wouldn't even hire me. So I was like, man, my life was going nowhere. But it was just, some strength that had me, willing to wait, because a lot of times, a lot of kids, they get out of jail and they wait 2-3 weeks, a month, and they come right back in. And it's kind of like, if everybody's waiting a month, then why won't I wait 2 months or 3 months? I just want to see, because I know patience was the biggest thing that we lack, and I know patience to get you far in life. But we don't have patience because if you look at our lifestyles and the way that we go about stuff, it's easy money and robbing and stuff like that. Fast money because we need it because the struggles are happening right there. And I remember getting a phone call, a postcard from a lady who said she was associate producer. And I called her and we were talking on the phone, and then she was just asking me all these questions. And at first I thought I really believed she was associate producer and they was trying to tell a story about a movie. And then she started asking a little bit too many personal questions. So now I kind of thought she was like the police, like an undercover or something, trying to interrogate me, for something I did that I didn't get in trouble for. So I started getting real short with her. Nope, never. I don't know. Yes, I like a lawyer present, please. But yeah, we were talking, and she said, "Can I meet you? Mother's Day." So she pulled the Mother's Day card on her husband and her kids, and she came down to Houston, and it was me and my dad, and we sat there and we talked, and then out of nowhere she was like, "Would you like to come stay with us?" And I was waiting for one of those just playing type of deal, because where I'm from, you don't have and I'm not trying to be racist or anything, white people taking little young black kids that just got out of prison. I mean, that just doesn't happen. I've never seen that before. So I saw that she was serious, and I was kind of because I have trust issues with a lot of stuff. And I remember she could see my reaction and that I had a trust issue and I didn't know if it was real or not. And she grabbed my hand and she told me to look at her. And she told me that if you come with us, I will take your life to a level you never even thought was possible. And right there, I was sold. I was like, I have nothing out here. So I go out there, and you're talking about a kid was a high school dropout, 2 first-degree felonies, and, wasted 3 years of his life and grew up in a rough, broken home area and did a lot of bad things. To, a year later, like he said, I was on the Jumbotron. I do acting, modeling, speaking. I do amateur boxing, but as far as just to stay in shape and, just something to, because I like working out, but I hate lifting weights. So, boxing, you don't have to lift weights. You just sweat, cardio. I like that. But at the same time, it's kind of like a lot of kids suffer that. I come from the same environment they came from, but with a little bit of hope, look how it changed me. She showed me a whole different way of life. She showed me, I was an inside-the-box thinker. She wanted to show me something new, and she gave me an opportunity. And I've been out of jail for 4 years. I got out of jail March 5th, 2009. And I'm 24 years old. So statistics said something, and then hope said something different. So I went the route that the hope said, and I... Keep going, or... And I'm just very determined, and there's nothing that can stop me from reaching my goals. But also, I just feel like that, as me being an example, when you a firm believer of something, and I've experienced what I've experienced, it gives me a passion to actually go out and speak to kids, and that's what I do, and I don't really ever want to pursue that as a career. That's something personal with me, because I feel like I'm an example. And I feel like they can relate to me. I feel like that Carmen, the lady who took me in, laid the foundation. She showed me something new. And then when I saw when she saw the excitement on my face, it made me want to, it's like being a kid and, getting a new toy. You want to go outside and show all your friends, wow, look at this, because nobody else has it. Everybody else wants that toy or wants to know how it feels to have that in their possession. So I want to go back and I want to offer something. Not only a conversation, like I don't want to be a motivational speaker. I want to be, inspiration, something that inspired them, because that lasts longer. Motivation lasts a couple minutes, hour or so, day or two. And then inspiration, if you look at a lot of celebrities, they say, Michael Jackson inspired me when I was a little kid, and that's something that they carried on, for the rest of their life. And that's what I want to be. And I look at it like, as I said earlier, I think together, we can help change the world. I think we look at one person and, that's the president of the United States to change a whole country. Like, how can one person do that? It's us. We make the difference. We make the change. We're the majority. Everybody in here is trying to do something. Everybody in here is trying to impact other people's lives. We're waiting and sitting on the couch, watching elections and stuff, waiting and just listening to a whole bunch of people telling us stuff we want to hear when we can really go do something about it. Everybody in here is capable of going to go do something or spreading a message. We have a movie that could come out and change the world. We need stuff behind that. These kids, I know it's hard to understand because you never lived that lifestyle, but imagine if I taught you one thing your whole life. If I taught you math when you was a little kid all the way up to you were 20 and somebody asked you something about science, you probably pass out or take off running because you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is science? If I taught you one thing your whole life, that's all you're going to know. So you got to look at the same time, that's all we were taught. That's how we were raised. Imagine having to raise yourself, no support, no guidance, and you're in an environment that the only way to survive is to be negative. I used to get picked on and bullied when I was a kid, and I was abused by my mom and foster parents. I didn't become violent until I was 13 because it got old. I got tired of it. I got tired of people abusing me, and I wanted to stand up for myself. That was the only way for me to survive where I came from. So you imagine a 13 kid that has to deal with that. And then also on top of that, he has to provide for himself. From 13 to 16, I was buying all my clothes, shoes, and everything. I'm too young to get a job. College is like, wait, just the thought patterns. How do you make the best decision at 13? I'm 24, and I still make horrible decisions. I'm talking about, golly, sometimes I feel like I'm 12. Like, for real. And it's not even really about, just throwing money and giving it to them and thinking that's going to solve the problem. Because I'm not going to lie to you. If you was to give me $1 million right now, I'd go shopping. I go buy a $900,000 house, $100,000 car, and then won't even have gas money. So I'll be sitting in the house, no lights, in a nice car with no gas, you know? I'm just being honest. We're not taught those values. We're not taught those kind of things, you know? So it's kind of like, you know, we're ignorant to a lot of things, but we're stupid to a lot of things, but at the same time, we're hopeless. You live in a society where it's no hope. It's nothing but hate. And when you fight hate with hate, you know, you get nowhere. You know, you go to jail, they send people to jail. It's kind of like I was saying earlier on the interview, you know, they building all these prisons and all these laws, and it's kind of like, you know, the crime rate continues to go up. So jail must not be the solution. You know, it's constantly something else, and it feels like somebody's running away from something. We're running away from a problem that we need to turn around and face. You know, I understand there's other problems in other countries and stuff like that, but if we can't handle a problem in our own backyard, you know, that's like me cleaning up everybody's house and my house look a mess. People gonna look at me like, how you clean everybody else's house and your house dirty? You know, it's like right here, 30 minutes away, you know, it's a kid out there that just needs some guidance. Everything that Carmen gave me didn't cost, because everything that we want is right here. We want to be accepted. We want the same thing any human being would want. Everybody in here wants to be understood. They want to be loved. They want to be cared for. They want somebody to believe in them. Everybody in here wants that, right? You know, that's what we seek. I got involved in the gangs because I wanted to be loved. And at that time, that was the only option. But don't get me wrong, I'm not really trying to make any excuses. I'm trying to do something to help understand where we come from, because you can't go by the news, because the news only show the bad parts of the environment. They don't ever make stories on what these kids, these households and stuff like that, what goes on a day-to-day basis. You know, I've lost 3 of my friends since I've been out of jail, and my cousin died. He got killed 3 weeks ago, you know, and now it's kind of like I'm so used to it, and that's a problem. I shouldn't be used to that. You know, I didn't even cry. I mean, I was over it quick. It's like natural to me. You know, that's hard to live with. How do you become that heartless to where a loved one dies and you don't even know how to react to it? You know, so I mean, I don't want to talk y'all ears off. I know y'all want some dessert, all that kind of stuff. But all I'm saying is that I think that, you know, it's a change that needs to be made, and I think that the forgotten population needs to be remembered again. You know, and I think that if anybody in here could raise their hand and say that they are successful without having anyone in their life and nobody to motivate them or lift them up, then I'll drop the mic and walk outside right now. Like, for real, everybody in here had somebody believe in them, at least one person, you know? So imagine not having that at all, and then being in an environment where negativity is all around you, temptation is all you have. Wouldn't anybody, none of y'all would be sitting here. You know, we'd probably be having a banquet in jail or something like that. You know, everybody, if y'all didn't have that, you know, I'm just being honest, you know. But y'all are successful because, you know, 2 reasons for y'all, and also y'all had support. Y'all had somebody that cared, somebody that inspired y'all, somebody that believed in y'all, you know. And that's all these kids need. Because I am a living example. I'm not telling you something I heard. I'm not telling you something I saw. I'm telling you who I am. I am that walking example. Every time you see me, that is what you realize, that kid right there used to be that hopeless kid that was given a second chance, and he took advantage of it. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some knuckleheads, but that just comes with the territory. But if we can save one, we getting somewhere. We at least moving forward. And in due time, when the next generation come, y'all's kids, you know, make the world a better place. But that's us, not the police, that's us. This is our country, all of us. You know, we represent this. When we walk outside, we represent this. You know, so I thank y'all for having me.
The One Heart Project is about seeing more Mack Whites, those at risk, incarcerated youth being given a second chance through unconditional love, support, values-based curriculum, life skills, job skills training, being redirected in how they think, and then re-equipped as they re-enter society so that they can be successful. I just want to close with a quote from our founder, and it's one of his favorite quotes. It's from the 18th century Irish philosopher Edmund Burke, and it says, "All that is necessary for evil to triumph is for enough good men and women to do nothing." We're all here for the reason of doing something. And the One Heart Project and the movie One Heart is about trying to galvanize a movement of folks like you and I here and across the country, reaching back and touching this type of lost generation with love, direction, guidance, and support. Again, on behalf of my fellow board members and Steve Rich, our CEO and founder, and certainly the wonderful testimony and example of Mack White, thank you so much for shining a light not just on our organization, but on all of the good work that all of you all do as individuals and part of your organizations, and certainly want to thank the Office Depot Foundation for bringing this type of effort and celebration together. It's a great honor for us to be recipients of the award tonight. Thank you.